Hit that like button if you want Shedeur Sanders to be a Raider. I know that we have talked about the Colorado quarterback quite some time on this show. We talked about Jaden Daniels a lot last season, and there was no doubt a lot of smoke around the Raiders wanting Jaden Daniels. I'll tell you this right now. There's also a little bit more smoke now around the Raiders potentially getting their guy. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, Deion Sanders is adding more fuel to the Shedeur to Las Vegas Raiders rumors. And I always say where there's smoke, there's fire. But when the smoke is coming from Deion, guess what? I'm going to follow that trail through and through. And the reason why I wanted to be able to talk about this is because I have made multiple shows, multiple videos about me saying that I believe Deion Sanders wants Shedeur in Las Vegas to play with Tom Brady. Well, guess what has happened even just today at the time that I'm making this video? Coach Prime, a.k.a. Deion, has interacted with two of my social media posts regarding Shedeur Sanders to the Las Vegas Raiders. The first time that Deion interacted with one of them was on Friday, November 22nd. The second time was today, the time that I'm making this video, Tuesday, November 23rd. Okay? So when I look at a lot of this stuff, Tuesday, November 26th. When I look at a lot of the things that have happened around the Raiders, around Deion, I know that Deion is a smart enough human being to know that his actions are going to create ripples in the effect of the NFL draft and what could happen to Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to be following this story very, very closely. And anytime that there's an update, I'm going to talk about it. So back on last Thursday or last Friday, Deion Sanders liked this video that I ended up producing. And you guys can see, Deion Sanders wants Shedeur to be a Raider. If you don't believe me, there's screenshots, there's everything. Deion liked this post, and if you're like, all right, well, maybe he just liked it because of the content in the video. The first video context was this, that Deion wanted Shedeur to be a Raider to play with Tom Brady, that Coach Prime would force Shedeur to a team of his choosing, and that he wouldn't do it in public, but he would do it behind closed doors, and that Sanders, quote, on how he wants Shedeur to develop. Shedeur is a QB that's going to take maybe a year to develop a little bit. And Deion has said that he doesn't want Shedeur to necessarily be thrown to the wolves right away. And when you see the quote that Deion says, it's very similar to the thought process that Tom Brady has and how to develop a quarterback correctly in the National Football League. So that's the first video. Well, guess what? Today, November 26th, Deion Sanders, he did it again. And the video that he liked was Deion Sanders confirms he wants Shedeur to be a Raider. He liked this one as well. And again, some of you all might be like, Mitch, he's just liking a post. If you're a normal person and you hit the like button, I get it. But when you're Deion Sanders and you know, and I even say in the video, Deion, I know that your actions speak louder than words. And I know Deion knows that everything that he does is going to get ramifications. So not only did he did it once, he did it twice. And the fact that he did it twice, I think is a really, really big deal because to me, this is almost just confirming again that Deion does want Shedeur to come to the Raiders. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm simply saying that Deion, as a father, wants his son, Shedeur, to play with the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, in an organization that has said that they were going to allow Tom Brady to pick the quarterback. Like, me acknowledging Deion liking my first video is the context of the second video that I made. And I literally say in the video, Deion knows what he's doing by liking the video. So here you go. You got two different examples of Deion Sanders. His literally liking the videos of us talking about him forcing his son, Shedeur, to the Las Vegas Raiders. So you know what? You can say what you want. I want you to hit that subscribe button because if you want Shedeur in the silver and black, why would you not watch the show that Deion Sanders clearly watches? You can say what you want about a lot of other shows, and I think there's a lot of amazing other Raiders content creators out there. But I know for a fact that Deion Sanders is watching the Raiders Report. I know for a fact that Shedeur Sanders is watching the Raiders Report. And I know for a fact very important people in that Raiders organization are watching this show. So why wouldn't you watch it? Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. That way, you don't miss a thing. So coming up here, let's get into the smoke that has kind of already happened. And I know that not everybody has the opportunity to watch every show that I do, Totally get it. If you have watched every single show that I've ever put out, and I put out a video every single day on this channel for basically the last 5 years, then you know what? This one might be a little bit reiterated, but I do want to reiterate a lot of the things that I've already talked about, because if you haven't seen the timeline of all these things linking Shedeur to Las Vegas, linking Deion, wanting him to play with Tom Brady, then I need you to watch today's show, because there's a lot of smoke around that fire. Also, huge shout out to our sponsor here, Tushy. I love Tushy. And if you're wondering, Mitch, what on earth are you talking about? I'm talking about a game changer. A household full of holiday guests is a beautiful thing until you realize they're all endlessly wiping in your bathroom. Give your toilet a fighting chance by installing a Tushy bidet. I think personally it's a lot cleaner. It can be a little bit weird at first. I'm not going to lie to y'all. But imagine when you pick up after your dog, and this is the realest way that I can possibly say it. The other day I was picking up after Chuck, and I'm not going to lie, got a little poop on my finger. I didn't just get a paper towel. I didn't just get some toilet paper and wipe that off. No, I actually washed my hands. So why, when you take a number 2, are you not cleaning your butthole? Hello, Tushy's going to help you do that. So give the gift of practical luxury that benefits everyone in your household. And for a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code CHAT at checkout. Over 2 million butts love Tushy. Save big at hellotushy.com/chat. And don't forget to give us a shout out while you're out there and let them know that we sent you. So go to hellotushy.com/chat for the best gift this holiday season. Also, you're going to save money in the long run by not spending money on toilet paper. Once you go with the Tushy, you're not going to go back. Huge shout out to them for sponsoring the Raiders Report. So let's go to the Shedeur to LV loading and some of the things that have happened already, which is why I wanted to make today's video, because I get it. If Deion's just out here liking Instagram posts, not that big of a deal. But when you add Deion liking Instagram posts about Shedeur coming to the Las Vegas Raiders on top of everything else that I'm about to show you, you're going to go, all right, I see it now. Let's first start with maybe just the Mel Kiper Jr. comments. And I'm not going to read it exactly. You guys can kind of look at it how you want. Essentially, a guy like Mel is very well connected in NFL circles. And for a guy like Mel Kiper to say something like, Sanders will obviously go early, and the Raiders should be near the top of the draft. And I think about how new minority owner Tom Brady might impact the team's draft decisions. So you see that. Then you see also what Mel said. It seems like a really good fit for a Raiders team that needs a young starter under center. After missing out on all 6 first-round quarterbacks in 2024, Las Vegas has gotten mediocre quarterback play from Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell. It's time for a long-term fix. For a guy like Mel to say the things that he's saying, that's point number 1. Let's go to another point here. Tom Brady's relationship already with Shedeur. Tom Brady's relationship already with Deion Sanders. If you don't know how close TB12 and Shedeur are, then I know then for a fact that you're definitely not watching the show a lot, because these two are connected at the hip, and they have been connected at the hip for quite some time. Shedeur's been working with Tom Brady since 2020. Brady's been like this guy's mentor in helping him develop into a young quarterback since 2020. And if you're a guy like Deion, you go, well, Shedeur's gotten better and better and better and better. Why would I not want my kid to continue to working with Tom Brady, the greatest of all time? And when you look at Shedeur's relationship with Brady, they text each other after every single game. Brady mode tweets one of my favorite things where Shedeur says he goes into Brady mode after a big-time win in 2023. They work out together, as you just saw in that picture, and Brady's got an NIL deal with Shedeur, and they got it tied in with Deion. Brady knows that Shedeur means money. Shedeur knows that him in Las Vegas with Brady means money. Deion knows that Shedeur in Las Vegas with Tom Brady equals money. There's a lot of money-making things going on here, which guess who that makes very, very happy? A guy by the name of Mark Davis. And Mark Davis knows that this is the time that he's got to be able to figure it out. There are new sports teams getting ready to come to Las Vegas. He needs to figure out this situation at quarterback, and Mark has already said that Tom Brady is going to be the main guy, decision maker at who's going to be the next quarterback for the Raiders. So give me a yes or give me a no down below. Will Shedeur Sanders make the Raiders a contender? Because we could talk about Shedeur. We could talk about Deion. We could talk about AP, next QB, this and that. The reason why we are talking about a player who's not even on the team yet is because we're all hoping that whoever that quarterback that the Raiders draft, it turns the Raiders into a Super Bowl contender. So give me a yes, give me a no. I do think that Shedeur Sanders with Tom Brady and the proper development can turn into a team, a leader that can make a team a Super Bowl contender, which is why I'm talking about him so much on the show. And I'm not afraid to say it because I didn't believe in Shedeur before. I believe in Shedeur now. Let's go to another reason here of why Shedeur to LV is slowly loading. The Mark Davis relationship. The Mark Davis relationship is a very important one. And when Davis and Shedeur met just a few weeks ago, might even be a few months ago at this point, Mark looked at Shedeur and goes, "You might be at your new home right now." And Mark has already signed off on the idea of getting Shedeur. Mark knows how much money Shedeur would bring to this organization. And why wouldn't Mark Davis want somebody like Shedeur to be able to bring in here to create the face of the franchise? I think if Shedeur is on the Raiders, he's going to get TV deals. He's going to get stuff that rivals what the Dallas Cowboys gets, which means more money in Mark Davis's pocket, which means big old smile for Mr. Mark Davis. Let's go to another reason why here I think Shedeur to LV is slowly loading. Max Crosby approves. Max Crosby and Mark Davis relationship is the best player-GM relationship in the entire NFL. Crosby has also stated multiple times on his own podcast that he's open to the idea of Shedeur and Cam Ward. And, quote, Max said earlier this season, "That's my guy. Shedeur's my guy." That's what people don't know. Mark Davis listens to Max Crosby probably more than anybody that's not named Tom Brady this season. Max and Mark are very close, and because Crosby approved, because Tom Brady's relationship, because of Mel Kiper's comments, and then also you tie into the fact that Deion has openly said that he's going to try to force Shedeur to be able to go to certain spots. All of these reasons here are why I think Shedeur to LV is loading. So let's go to the next one here. Again, Deion saying that he's going to force Shedeur to Las Vegas. And he's not saying it in regards to like he's going to make him go there. But Deion forcing Shedeur to LV could be a possibility. He did like multiple videos that I put out. So I think you have to look at that. And then let's look at just something that happened recently. The thank you God tweets. The thank you God tweets have been happening week after week after week after every single Raiders lost. I'll admit, this week it didn't happen after a Raiders loss. It happened after a Tennessee Titans loss, where as soon as the Titans lost, guess what? The Raiders, they jump up into the overall draft rankings. But the reason why the thank you God tweets are very interesting to me is because this is, again, an example of some tea leaves pointing Shedeur to Las Vegas. So the thank you God tweets, whether you think that they're about whatever, you can say what you want. Here's one thing that I do know. Shedeur Sanders got these cleats. They say, "Thank you God" on them. Guess what color they are? They are silver and black. In the video where Shedeur gets these thank you God silver and black cleats, he literally says, "Shout out to the Raiders." So maybe Shedeur's just stoking the fire a little bit, but I think what you're seeing here, Deion Sanders, not a dumb guy. Him liking my videos, he knows that his actions are going to get this. Shedeur, not a dumb kid, knows that by him putting out silver and black cleats and say thank you God after he's tweeting out thank you God and him saying shout out Raiders, he knows that it's going to get attention. These are not dumb people, and I'm not saying that they are already figuring out a way to get Shedeur here, but the plan is in set. The plan is to get Shedeur Sanders to Las Vegas. And then, you know what? Let's throw in a little bit of a bonus one. Shedeur to LV loading, and I'm just going to say based off of Antonio Pierce's recent comments. We know that the Raiders quarterback play stinks, but I think when you see Antonio Pierce be as vocal as this and him saying that he knows that the issue is at quarterback and that's the only difference, I think that's AP just saying flat out, let me get my quarterback, because I also made a show about AP convincing the right people in that organization that if he gets the right quarterback based on what is happening in Washington right now with Cliff and Jaden, that's what he wanted, that he's going to be able to get it done, and he's going to be able to get it done in a big way. So when you see Antonio Pierce say that quarterback play, bottom line quarterback play, is the biggest reason why the Raiders are in last place in the AFC West, I don't care what you can say. This is Antonio Pierce crying out to Tom Telesco. Antonio Pierce crying out to the Las Vegas Raiders saying, let's go get our guy. Let's go get a Shedeur Sanders. Let's go get a young quarterback that can compete with a Bo Nix, that can compete with a Justin Herbert, that can compete with a Patrick Mahomes. Because until you find that quarterback in the draft, it's not going to be easy for the Silver and Black to be able to build around the future. AP knows that. It's why I've made multiple videos saying that I think Shedeur Sanders could literally save Antonio Pierce's job. The reason why you should subscribe to the Raiders Report, Deion Sanders is watching the show, and I promise you this, whether you're Team Tank or not, You're not going to find anybody that's going to be able to keep you up to date on everything going on around the Raiders, around Deion, around Shedeur, like the Raiders Report will. You might as well hit that sub button.